China is like that money lender जो गांव में रहता है और बेटा बड़ा होके बोलता है लाला मेरे माँ के कंगन वापस कर दे और वो बोलता है नहीं मैं नहीं दूंगा.
Talking about superpowers is all about a country, a state that kind of completely projects power, on the entire globe.
If in America has got a Facebook, China's got its own variation. If they've got a Google, these guys have got a Baidu. So they are literally not letting you use their consumers or their data or any of that type of stuff.
We could be looking at multiple superpowers. We could be looking at a multipolar world,
Okay.
Everywhere.
What do you think of collaboration of a Brazil and a Mexico? Does that sound nice?
Will be great, right? Will be great.
And rather than a superpower, let's have a supercontinent of Europe. And then everything just branches out from here to the world, because
that accessibility also becomes very important. That how accessible are you on the global platform?
Okay. Anil Ambani went and told UK मेरे बीवी के एक जेवर बेच के इधर आ गया. मैं बोला ये क्या बोल रहा है, कुछ भी क्या बोल रहा है, इतना लंबा हिंदी पिक्चर जैसा फेंक रहा है. मैं बोला मत कर अनिल भाई ऐसा, मतलब धीरू भाई बोलेगा ए बेटा ये सब क्या कर रहा है, मतलब he'll get up and be like, yo Anil, come on man, stop this. All right, everybody, back again with another video that you guys have been requesting for a while. Today, we're going to talk about the superpower contenders. Yes, the next few superpowers that can emerge in this world in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Sangeeta, to begin with, 1990 was 30 years back. Isn't that all of a sudden like, wow, we didn't even see that coming. But 30 years just flies back like this. And 2050 is also 30 years away. And today we want to actually talk about the superpower contenders. This is going to be so much fun.
Hi Raja, how are you? And thank you for that very flattery beginning. Thank you. Okay. I'm totally touched. And I guess you're shooting this.
So you can be on my side today. Let's hope. Yeah, for a change.
Well, I have to say that I am going to be on your side today because we're shooting this on the Happy Men's International Day. So yes, Happy Men's International Day to you. So yes, I have been waiting so that I could, kind of see you here on screen.
With you, that's why I'm wearing a white t-shirt and sitting down, So there's only peace and love. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah, let's go. What's your perspective?
So,
what's your entire perspective about a superpower to begin with?
Well, every time we begin with the topic, Raja, it is very important that we make our people understand that when we say superpower, what do we really mean? What is the kind of definition, the official, the dictionary or the Wikipedia one, that how does it really sound? So as all of us know, talking about superpowers is all about a country, a state that kind of completely projects power, on the entire globe, economically, culturally, socially, politically, and of course, my mic goes off. You see, this is what a superpower is all about.
This is what a superpower does. Try and talk about a superpower, the mic is going to go down and the glasses are going to
right up here.
It's already beginning out here.
Totally. So like I was saying, politically and yes, diplomatically. So this is what we understand. And Raja, I'm sure for you and me, every time we talk about a superpower contender in the last many years, in the last 30 years that we're talking about, which is the end of the 20th century and the beginning of now that we are here in the 21st century, Correct. It has always been United States of America. So it's always been the USA. And of course, needless to mention the former Soviet Union that we always understood as superpowers. But as we take it all forward from here, of course, we are going to be talking about
मैं तो एकदम लेमैन हूँ, मैं तो सिंपल लेमैन हूँ. मेरे को लगता है कि ठीक है, सुपर पावर ऐसा ये बन सकता है, वो बन सकता है. We are definitely going to understand the researcher's perspective that Sangeeta brings on board. Nowadays, she does so much of research and she's like, no, but this is not. I'm like, excuse me? No, it is going to happen like that. You can't tell me it's not going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm like, oh my God, whatever. So I'm playing the layman card out here and she's playing the super researcher doing the superpower conversation. So let's see which way are we tilting and what is the perspective that we both bring to the table. But before we go ahead, all the amazing hustlers that join us to listen to our conversations, please go like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon and comment below about your opinions. Who is the next superpower? Who do you think? Do you agree with us, disagree with us? And what topics do you guys want us to cover in the near future? Go ahead, do it. Yes.
Do it right now. Comment below.
Absolutely. क्यों ऐसा शर्मिंदा कर रहे हो यार? हमेशा तुम लोग सब्सक्राइब नहीं करते हो, आते हो वीडियो देखते हो, लाइक करते हो, चले जाते हो. लाइक तो करना पड़ेगा, सब्सक्राइब करना पड़ेगा और कमेंट भी करना पड़ेगा. समझदार इंसान हो यार, कर लो. Sangeeta, your perspective? कौन बन सकता है?
So Raja, why do you think all these many years you had United States of America as the only extant superpower?
America, even after that, they fought their own battles. They got independence really early. If you look at that, we are talking about back in 1700s, 1600s, and way back then, like 300 years at least. I'm not really aware of the year exactly.
So,
but
so Raja, this is where I'd like to just intervene and interject you and say, you have said it all. So earlier when we would talk about superpowers or we talk about the power contenders, this one thing was very important, which was the military force.
Correct.
Which also happens to be very prevalent till date. Because somewhere if you go to see that if your entire country has developed in a very environment that had a lot of interstate rivals or colonizations,
sure,
somewhere or the other, the building that whole incentive of investing into a military power. So this was ideally one of the very important reasons, the very reason rather, I must say, for any country to emerge as a superpower, because then you have a lot of say in the global political scenario, in the global security threat is what I would like to say. So yes, that was
50-60 years back. We did not have these bodies and all of these
international organizations.
Yeah.
True,
which we do have now. So
true.
Right now, back then, no one cared. If you said something, they're like, usne bola, I don't care about it.
You see the Roman Empire, for a matter of fact, rather one of the empires that really made inroads across the entire European nations, when we talk about the entire continent, much into the Asian continent as well. So you can see that
they all came as traders and merchants even back in the day. And even today, everybody comes in as FIIs, right? Foreign investment. So we still have traders, we still have merchants. It's just that.
And then you have China, which
अलग-अलग नाम देते हैं और कुछ नहीं. वो पहले जहाज से आते थे, अभी डायरेक्ट पैसा लेके आते हैं और कुछ प्रॉब्लम.
And then China is the biggest one, right? I mean, when you see US lending, it's a very different kind of a lending. But when China, goes out and lends money today, it has become.
That is because the World Bank doesn't.
Largest.
The World Bank does not want to pay a lot of countries and say, we don't believe that you can pay us back, etc. You're not qualified, and China is like, hey, come here, no, तुमको पैसा चाहिए.
हम देते हैं, exactly. So if you
China
want to
is like that lender, Lala Saab, जो मतलब
lender has become the largest creditor. So when you talk about in the very economic terms, you'll actually see that today US is the largest debtor, and when it comes to China, it has become the largest creditor. So you can understand.
Do you think
but then
China is like that?
The means are just not right.
China is like that money lender जो गांव में रहता है और बेटा बड़ा होके बोलता है लाला मेरे माँ के कंगन वापस कर दे और वो बोलता है नहीं मैंने दूंगा. Do you think China is like that?
China बोलेगा अपनी माँ मेरे पास भेज दे.
Actually, China is buying ports, natural resources, mines, all of these things.
Everything.
So that's why we were like, what, why we are doing this topic is to understand. ठीक है, USA. We had
entire Latin America, entire Africa. You will see, and it's not even funny how China has gone out to make inroads in these countries, completely taking over their natural resources, and it's so visible. Entire Latin America, you'll get to see that.
So, is it safe to say China is definitely one of the contenders for a next superpower?
Yeah, you can say that. Like I said, when it comes to US, it's absolutely an extant superpower, but we can see the declining position. When we talk about the GDP, we are seeing there is a decline.
Numbers talk more than humans, right? So at the end of the day, तुम झूठ बोलो, मैं झूठ बोलूंगा, मतलब फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. At the end of the day, if the GDP is going up and going up at such a, such a pace, then you definitely have to be like, yeah, okay, fine. You can't ignore it at the end of the day. So, are you going to throw in China as your first contender?
Yes, well, China,
let's play the
though
devil's advocate and see what if the entire world unites and says.
So let's understand that why China. Like I said, because of the ballooning, gross domestic product that we're talking about. When we talk about the inflation rate, yes, it's much better. When we talk about the purchasing power parity, it's much better. When we talk about, earlier, say about 15 years back, we always thought that China is more of a hard power. You can see how they actually go out and the kind of say that they are now politically having, they're now diplomatically having a lot of international organizations and WHO. We've all seen what is happening during the COVID times. We just saw that how everything was so manipulated. So yeah, in these kind of things, yes, of course, China very much there. Like I said, in terms of the GDP, it is totally up there. Like I said, it has become the largest creditor. Soft power now. 15 years back, I was just saying that, we couldn't have we thought it was more of a copycat kind of a culture that China was into.
For the layman's like me and the others that are listening to this, soft power, hard power ke beech mein farak kya hai, if they want to just ask.
So soft power, when we talk about technology, we talk about a lot of innovations, jaise aaj agar hum Alibaba, to just throw some names,
Alibaba, Tencent,
exactly. These are now they have got into that innovation. Earlier
Huawei,
we would see a lot of copycats, right?
Correct,
look at, when we talk about earlier we had Facebook and, we had YouTubes, and China has its own version of it because
Baidu
it never
and
got
this
into
and that and WeChat and everything.
So many of that. So that is soft power. When we talk about hard power, it's the military, force. It's the investment that you do. So that's the traditional military force that we talk about is the hard power. So you can see that China is very much there. Rather, in terms of military, 20 years earlier and 20 years now down the line, you can see it is far way come along. United States. Correct. These are the things which really kind of gets China into that.
Would you
and
say
moreover,
China is your first pick in the next contender?
Well, I wouldn't.
But no, like technically, not emotionally thinking, but rationally, is that?
No, rationally, if you go to see China,
on paper,
about China. Most importantly, where China misses out. If I get into the entire parameters of it, ab dekho. Talking about US, economically.
Donald Trump said last year before Donald Trump lost, which is blah. Yeah, Donald Trump lost. Boo. Donald Trump said before he lost, it was just a random conversation that he was having. And he said, if China is a developing country, then even America is a developing country. Obviously, abhi bhi developing. You can't call China a developing country anymore. It's about time you change the definition of developing country or something like that. So, if an America's got an Amazon, China's got a Alibaba. If an America's got a Facebook, China's got its own variation. If they've got a Google, these guys have got a Baidu. So they are literally not letting you use their consumers or their data or any of that type of stuff. That's very interesting, but you see the whole world is filled with
also,
PUBG.
Raja, while they do all of this, you can see this is what actually makes them, a step, I wouldn't say ahead, but like a step behind in their, their whole race of being a superpower. Because every time you want to invest into China, the kind of government interventions are there. It's not funny. When we talk about data privacy, it's not available.
The rule in China is even if you're a private company and the government wants your data, you have to give it. That's why a lot of companies are offshoring to different countries.
So these are the contrary views wherein we are talking about, wherein we are highlighting the reasons why China could be thought of being a superpower. But I would also like to bring to the table.
That's where I was coming with my point. Ki the entire world can literally be like, no, we are not going to let them become the superpower, and let's take our own stance. And who would benefit out of this? The second contender I would like to throw is India. I know we have a lot of issues with governance out here, a lot of issues with fundamentals, a lot of scams that come out from year after year after year. Banks going up and down, upside down, belly up. Yesterday, the RBI came out and announced another bank going a belly up, which is Lakshmi Vilas Bank, which was founded 80 years back. यार तुमने बैंक फाउंड किया 80 years back, वो अभी जाके डूब रही है. मतलब किसी को कुछ भरोसा क्या है ये चीज. मतलब वो बैंक सीनियर सिटीजन बनने के बाद भी डूब चुकी है. सीनियर सिटीजन बनने के बाद भी वो बैंक कुंफू करके दूसरे को कुछ ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट रेट में पैसा दे रही है. India, yes, but India also is a difficult country.
India, while we say, it is culturally very strong, we've seen economically also it has really done very well for itself. Today we do have a voice in international organizations. But then again, but when we talk about it being a superpower, where we kind of lack, Raja, is the entire, how pervasive our rural,
Correct. The rural economy
population is. It's crazy. When we talk about how entrenched our entire, jo hamara corruption hai, it's really, really, really bad.
It needs to literally be outed from the grassroots levels rather than ऊपर से trim किया, मतलब वो वापस.
There's a lot of inequality in terms of rich getting richer and poor getting poor. That particular
the divide is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's only becoming bigger and bigger.
And so only the Indian entrepreneurs are sometimes stepping up and trying to fill the gap, but that again is becoming a part of that entire system again. I mean, I remember one interview by Raghuram Rajan, the ex RBI chief. He said, when I was in India and when I was trying to take care of the economy, etc., and my team was doing all of these things, we were doing a lot of different reforms. But a lot of people would kind of come up to him and be like, ठीक है ये तो हो गया मगर हमारे लिए क्या है इसमें. The whole concept of what is there for me in it if I sign this paper needs to go. What is there for the entire system and the country needs to kind of come up. So I think, and this has been the issue since I was in school. I mean, we used to see Office, one of the most favorite serials that I used to see back in the day, and see Musaddilal going from one office to another every week.
That makes India infamous, right? For a lot of reasons. I mean, when you talk about malnutrition, every time you talk about malnutrition, you just see you have this one picture, and that is India. And over the years, we've not been able to.
Has India become a poster child of malnutrition babies? Like
yes,
how Africa, even though Africa is a beautiful continent and there are so many countries in Africa in that amazing continent.
So that is what America does pretty well, Raja. If you
marketing
really get
and
into
media
the
manipulation, basically. Okay.
That is most important.
What do you have to think about the island regions of Australia?
And India has to do something about pollution, Raja. Because because I think today environment.
So even China has to do a lot about pollution.
Exactly. That is what I was coming to. So India and China, if you really need to be on the Paris, the environmental, and you really talk about global warming. So I think these are the factors which are very important for you to be a superpower contender. And China and India completely lose out on taking care of your environment. And even in China, for a matter of fact, the entire workforce is shrinking. You see the middle class today is really up there. The bottom rung, there was a time when you could get cheap labor. Everything that China kind of encashed on today, it's not there because middle class is moving up there. They're wanting to move out.
Right.
A lot of people are stepping out. So of course you're going to lose. So that the shrinking workforce is again very, very important.
So these are two countries we just spoke about, China and India. Obviously, 2/7 of the world is literally China and India. Out of 7 billion people in the world, either you're going to get a Chinese or an Indian or, a mix or whatever the hell, So it's like 2.5 people in the world are either Indian or Chinese. And the third country...
But the best part is why people from China are all across the globe, they still work towards the betterment of their country.
No, that's because the Chinese government makes them work for the betterment of their country. It's not like they want to work.
But in India, it's not like this, right? I mean, in India, if you see people out there, we only bog you down for the super intellectuals or the seculars that you are. So,
okay.
And of course, the China not being a democratic country, again, that kind of does challenge it, status quo of being a superpower contender.
Do you think... See, Putin is going to go ahead and resign. That's what I just read a couple of days back because of his health conditions. And I'm like, wow, this guy actually was supposed to be till 2034, but he wants to resign now. Okay. Do you think Russia can even come into contention anytime soon? Because after the fall away of
मुझे नहीं लगता है. The very reason, Raja, that Russia today no longer happens to be, at least if it is my personal opinion and whatever I have read it.
These two names,
China and India. आप देखो, there is a lot of
China and India that we spoke in length. So next names, let's just run through them.
Yeah, so Russia, I really don't think, because the very reason is there's a lot of deindustrialization that has happened.
Okay,
It has become a very uni product. I mean, everything to do with petro. So
Correct.
when your economy is completely driven by that a particular product, or so the entire industry is collapsing there. So something like this happens that itself. So Russia is and then Russia is pretty discreet. You really don't know Russia's way. Russia never comes out on a global platform and
Sure.
says, "Hey, this is what I am all about." There's
Back
always
50
something
years
very
back, it
discreet
was
about
very
it.
different. Now it's very different because 50
Very
years
different.
back,
Very,
Myanmar
very
was
different.
huge. The entire USSR was kind of broken into parts, etc., and whatever. So China is out of the contention anymore.
And even rather, it is Putin's statement, Raja, who actually went out and said that we do not actually aspire to be some kind of a superpower. So he was somebody who said that we only want that entire they're not into that hegemony across the world. So and he very well said that. Now I don't know what does he say and what does he actually mean.
Forget about that. Let's not even get into that. So let's talk about another country out here, Brazil. What do you think about Brazil?
Yeah, your favorite, isn't it?
I love Brazil. Yeah, what's wrong with Brazil?
I love Brazil too. Yeah. And why not a super contender? So very quickly, I'll bring in the points why Brazil you think could be a better contender, Raja, because they, of course, if you look at, in terms of the natural resources, they possess some crazy and untouched amount of strategic natural resources.
There's a whole bunch of the forestation over there as well. That is.
Yes. Yeah. When you talk about the rainforest, it has the Earth's largest rainforest, for a matter of fact. When you talk about fresh water, just for everybody out there, Brazil actually has 1/10 of the world's fresh water. So you can understand that. That's the kind of, when you talk about being a soft power, we have the policy makers in Brazil who really going out for that socio-economic, political kind of say into the international organizations. So it surely, but it loses out when it comes to a military hard traditional power that we talk about.
Military hard traditional power, yes, and hence I did not even drop in a South Korea, because South Korea and Japan both pay America to take care of their borders, by the way.
Japan was at a point in time an emerging superpower. That was way back in 1981, and then it kind of lost its entire race
at least
into it.
95, I would say. Japan.
That's because of the aging population, which kind of
it was definitely supposed
played a
to be
havoc
the
for them.
superpower of the East due to the technology and the forefront over there, and the land of the rising sun, and how much empires that it had, and how dominant the military power also was. Once upon a time, Japan occupied China and broke it down like it's no one's business back in the Opium War and all of these type of
Technology, right, Raja? Technology has been Japan's,
hard power
one of the
and soft power. I think
soft power. Yes,
both.
yes,
Both. I think if Japan just had a better immigration policy and they would import brains, then it would have been a better condition nowadays. Right? Like how India.
It's all about globalization, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So,
how India loves to export brains, Japan should have just imported as much as brains they could. I mean, but that's what they say. The cost of living and all of that is pretty high over there. So a lot of people would shy away from that unless they could literally.
Till about 2015, if you really go to see, Japan was actually the world's fourth most powerful military, in terms of the force that we are talking about. Till about just 2015. So I don't have the data, which is very recent, but yes. So when we talk about that, but then like I said, it's only US so far. Till about there was no Trump, and we could see, of course, it was Trump who kind of said that it's more inward looking that we're talking about. So, from that, Raja, I kept speaking to you when we were talking about this entire topic. I kept on saying that it's about the unipolar, the bipolar, and the multipolar world. And I'd like to bring here in this context that yes, today I think more than that one superpower, we could be looking at multiple superpowers. We could be looking at a multipolar world.
Okay.
I mean, you look into the American continents, it's America. You look into Latin America, and you will see it is Brazil and Mexico. You look you look into Africa. So Africa is so massive, like the landmass that it has.
But do you really think
which one time made Russia a superpower?
Do you think Mexico can? Do you think Mexico can do something? And actually,
so which is what I'm saying. Not everyone.
What do you think of collaboration of a Brazil and a Mexico? Does that sound nice?
Will be great, right? Will be great, isn't it?
Think about this. That's what gets me to the next contender, which you are very much against. But I'm like, think about this: the European Union, like all of these, the Germanys, the Germanys, the France, the Italys, all of these guys, if they just merge together and look at each other's powers and each other's weaknesses and cover up for each other, I mean, I understand. We've always had that.
So when you talk about the, you talk about the entire European Union, of course, before the Brexit that happened, we could always say that it's Germany, talk about France and UK. These were the very strong contenders in terms of being the superpower that we are talking about.
Yeah, but UK, I don't think anymore, because UK is just
not
isolated
anymore.
itself.
No, I'm saying, so these were the three contenders.
Correct.
The way, of course, and then the Brexit happened, and and then rest is history
this as
for
a
all of us.
scenario, right? I'm just painting a scenario for you right now. Why EU, right? Like, all of these countries can match up for each other's strengths and weaknesses in a good possible collaborative effort. If they need production in the country, they can actually outsource it to other poorer economic European countries that can produce things. And then they have the soft power building in your Switzerland, your Germanys, and all of these places, which is very well to do in terms of the internet and the freedom of business, etc., etc. Talking about Switzerland to be precise. Now, do you think this entire thing makes kind of sense to look at it like that?
I don't know, when it comes to
They don't
EU,
need to announce themselves as a superpower individual. They need to play that card where the
but
European
the problem
Union
is but then there is where the big problem lies. When you talk about the EU nations, Raja, they do not have a unified foreign policy for themselves. So that kind of is a big contrary view.
Sure, I mean, it might just take that turn, and they'll be like, you know what? We'll cover your back here. You cover this. You cover that. Everyone comes into that entire thing, and
Only
they're like,
then, yes,
let's go and play this card in the international organizations and territories. And rather than a superpower, let's have a supercontinent of Europe, and then everything just branches out from here to the world. Because think about it. Why I'm saying this is, Europe has always been that continent that went and conquered some other place in the world,
True.
right? So that is already inbuilt in their genetics and DNA some way or the other, that ये तो हमें कब्जा करना है ही करना है ही। और मेरा नाम तो राजा है, तो मैं वही तरीके से देखूंगा कि ये कौन कौन कहाँ से कब्जा करने वाला है। Your name is संगीता, you're gonna be like, हाँ, कोई किसी को कब्जा नहीं करेगा आज से, जाओ। यहाँ पे कोई नहीं है। Like, look at America. America didn't want to go and capture any other country, right? They just bought Alaska from Russia for $7 million back then, because Russia was like, ये दूर है, हमें नहीं आ सकता है। And now Russia is like, oh my God, why did we sell it to them? दूर, अच्छा, इधर बहुत सारा तेल मिल गया, सोना मिल गया, क्या मिल गया. So now they are crying over there, right? So Russia sold Alaska to America for $7 million.
लेकिन क्या होता है कि see, they may have had that kind of a history. So, but today the entire approach, it's very illusionary if you really go to see that, you'll have EU nations, because बहुत ज़्यादा integration की ज़रूरत है. There's a lot that needs to be integrated amongst the nation to actually counterbalance what America has to offer. So there's a different, when you have states and then we have different countries out there.
Fundamentals
So
change
it's
करना
not
है, change हो सकता है.
political or military जो बोले कि it is going to be a heavyweight nation. It's not possible. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So this is
this is
what I feel.
I just think it'll be a beautiful. I want to make a video also out of it. Thinking of it right now, can we have a supercontinent rather than one superpower country, which is EU, and actually draw in all the assumptions and possibilities of what can actually happen. I mean, I understand they're getting old, etc., etc. मगर brain drain तो हर country से होता ही है, and they can just attract people over here and be like, come settle down here, don't worry, we'll pay you also, इधर आ जाओ, काम करो. Look at what the Gulf has done. No, Gulf though we've not even thought about, spoken about.
In America, it's always like that. No, you may not have an entry into the country, but once you get a visa, you're pretty sorted, and 10 years, you're pretty free to go in and out of the country. But with EU, it's like, oh my God! I mean, every time you have to go, and as Indians, every time we need to go out for a European nation, you see how difficult it is. So of course, even like I said, that accessibility also becomes very important. That how accessible are you on the global platform?
Okay.
So that itself kind of challenges your whole idea of you being a superpower, because you're not accessible. Okay, you may not be accessible for a while, but then once I kind of verify you, I know who you are, and then I'm okay you traveling into my country. But with you, you're so close, and you get into that whole that okay, it's you can't. You have, if you're talking about a superpower,
that is your entire thought that the aging population of EU and the mentality not shifting and changing. But
Correct.
what if one fine day I become the prime minister of one of those countries there, and I'm like,
See,
you know
well,
what? Let's have a
Raja,
change.
so one fine day, then I would still say I would go ahead with India being the superpower. How I
No,
wish we.
EU will change their policies before India changes from corruption. Okay. We
Yeah,
know that,
so
you
no,
know
no, I
that.
think changing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I said, each one of us will have a visual thing. It's got to be my country on the cards out there, and I think India has it all to be a superpower. Yes, rural thoda problem hai.
All right, we have 2
Corruption
minutes to
problem.
close the show. 2 minutes to close the show now. So let's just wrap it up with.
So in Africa, you have nobody to
I would love the African continent to kind of come out there and actually become a superpower because of the not just the resources and everything. I love the people out there. I love the culture out there, the community, all of that good stuff as well. But the amount that China has penetrated that country and bought over their natural resources, that is the only reason I wouldn't call them a contender to be an emerging superpower. You know, if you think
When I
about
was
that,
just reading up, I really felt that Nigeria as a country
Nigeria
has a lot to offer in terms of energy, in terms of system of government. So yeah, when you really look at Nigeria, then and of course being a petro state that it is, so of course in terms of energy, it's a
that's what I'm
major
saying. My
exporter
love
of
for
oil and gas.
my love for Africa is unparalleled. I mean, just as much as I love India, I just think India and Africa have a very similar type of tropical weather to your entire natural resources, to the plantations, to a lot of things. But I just think they let China come in too deep in their country, and that is the only reason I didn't throw that name out there. But yeah, let's hope that they tell China, hey, तूने कुछ नहीं खरीदा, जा इधर से, मेरे को नहीं देने का। चल, go Pravya. अनिल अंबानी ने कैसा बोला चाइनीज बैंक को, जाओ इधर से, मेरे को नहीं है, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है। अनिल अंबानी went and told UK मेरे बीवी के एक जेवर बेच के इधर आ गया। मैं बोला ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, कुछ भी क्या बोल रहे हैं, इतना लंबा हिंदी पिक्चर जैसा फेंक रहा है। मैं बोला मत कर अनिल भाई ऐसा, मतलब धीरू भाई बोलेगा ए बेटा ये सब क्या कर रहा है, मतलब he'll get up and be like, yo Anil, come on man, stop this. But coming back to the topic, so we said we spoke about China in length, we spoke about India in length, we spoke about Brazil, we spoke about which other countries? Russia, Russia,
European Union,
the European Union, and even Mexico. That's 7 countries and
and Nigeria, my favorite.
And Nigeria,
because
definitely.
yeah.
So we
Because
spoke
yes,
about 8
Africa
of these countries, 7 countries, 8 continents, actually 2 continents counting Africa out there as well, and 6 countries. So guys, you guys need to let us know what you really think, which countries or continents can emerge as the next superpower in the next 20-30 years. Let's think long term यार, मतलब कल के बारे में कल कोई नहीं आने वाला है सुपर पावर, टेंशन मत लो। तो मतलब let's think about 10, 20, 15 years, you know, who's going to emerge as the next superpower? What do you think? These are our opinions. They can be right, wrong, not even valid. We don't care. We are putting it out there for you to research more and understand more about these things, because we want this entire population of India to be really intelligent, and I think you guys can make that difference. So go ahead and do it. You know how you can do it? First, by hitting that like button, commenting below, and sharing this video with your friends. That will make you really smart. दुआ देता हूँ यहाँ से, ठीक है? So with that being said, my name is Raja Mukherjee and that is Sangeeta Singh. My name is Raja Mukherjee and with me is the gorgeous Sangeeta Singh with a lot of beauty and a lot of brains. So we are going to see you next week. Till then, take care. Peace.
like, subscribe and comment.
अभी तो करना पड़ेगा, नहीं किया तो बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं तुमसे. बाय.